One developer's personal AI assistant went so viral it got sued within 48 hours. And that's actually the least interesting part.
Sued? For what? Was it using someone's API illegally? So we're breaking down how Moltbot works, why the name change happened, and what security risks we should watch for.
By minute 4, you'll know exactly what to check in your own setup. Let's get into it.
Welcome to the AI Daily Podcast, today's news and a deep dive to help you stay ahead in AI.
Today, we're diving into everything you need to know about viral personal AI assistant, Clawdbot, now Moltbot.
Stick around to the end for this week's headlines. Let's dive right in.
So let's talk about this fascinating David versus Goliath story that's been unfolding in the AI assistant space. A solo developer created this personal AI assistant called Clawdbot that went viral, then had to completely rebrand to Moltbot after what appears to be legal pressure. But here's what's really interesting. This isn't just about legal disputes. It's about a fundamental shift in how developers and users are thinking about AI assistants.
Right, and what struck me about this story is the timing. We're seeing this explosion of locally run AI assistants just as privacy concerns about cloud-based services are reaching a fever pitch. Is this coincidence, or is there something bigger happening here?
It's definitely not coincidence. What we're witnessing is the collision of 3 major forces. First, you've got the democratization of AI models, things like Llama 2 and other open source models that can actually run on consumer hardware. Second, there's growing awareness about data privacy, especially after seeing how ChatGPT and Claude handle user conversations. And third, there's this entrepreneurial spirit where independent developers are saying, hey, I can build something better for specific use cases.
So walk me through what made Clawdbot special, because there are tons of AI assistant projects out there, but this one specifically went viral.
That's the key question. From what we can piece together, Clawdbot hit this sweet spot of being genuinely useful while addressing real privacy concerns. Unlike ChatGPT or Claude, where your conversations go to OpenAI or Anthropic servers, Clawdbot ran entirely on your local machine. No data leaving your computer, no concerns about your proprietary code or personal information being used for training.
But there's got to be trade-offs, right? I mean, if it was that simple, wouldn't everyone just run local models?
Absolutely. And this is where it gets technically interesting. When you run a model locally, you're limited by your hardware. A typical consumer GPU can handle maybe a 7 billion or 13 billion parameter model, while ChatGPT is rumored to be in the hundreds of billions. So you're trading raw capability for privacy and control.
And yet, it went viral. So clearly, for some segment of users, that trade-off was worth it.
Exactly. And I think this speaks to a larger trend we're seeing. Not everyone needs GPT-4 level capabilities for their daily tasks. If you're a developer who wants an AI assistant for code completion, documentation, or basic automation, a well-tuned, smaller model running locally might actually be preferable. No latency, no API costs, no privacy concerns.
Plus, I imagine there's something appealing about having full control over your AI assistant. You can fine-tune it, modify it, integrate it however you want.
And that brings us to the elephant in the room, the rebrand from Clawdbot to Moltbot. This wasn't just a creative decision. Based on the timing and the specific name change, it's pretty clear this was legally motivated. And given that Claude is Anthropic's flagship product...
Oh, I see where this is going. Clawdbot, Claude. That's playing with fire from a trademark perspective.
Right. And this highlights one of the biggest challenges facing independent AI developers right now. The space is moving so fast that the legal landscape is still catching up. You've got established players like Anthropic, OpenAI, and Google staking out their territory. And then you've got this explosion of indie developers who might not have the legal resources to navigate trademark issues.
It's almost like the early days of mobile apps all over again, where everyone was trying to figure out what you could and couldn't do.
That's a great analogy. And just like with mobile apps, we're seeing this tension between innovation and intellectual property protection. The question is, how do we foster innovation in the AI space while still respecting legitimate trademark concerns? Coming up, we'll dig into exactly how these local AI assistants work technically, what it actually takes to run one, and why this legal challenge might have broader implications for the entire ecosystem of independent AI development. So let's get into the technical meat of how something like Clawdbot actually works, because understanding the architecture helps explain both why it became popular and why it faced the challenges it did.
Yeah, I'm really interested in the implementation details. How do you go from an open source model to a functional AI assistant that people actually want to use?
Great question. At its core, you're looking at three main components. First, you need the language model itself, probably something like Llama 2.13 or maybe Mistral 7B. These models are small enough to run on consumer hardware, but large enough to be genuinely useful. Second, you need an inference engine, something like llama.cpp or ggml, that can efficiently run the model on CPU or consumer GPUs. And third, you need the interface layer that makes it feel like an actual assistant rather than just a command line tool.
What kind of hardware are we talking about here? Because I know a lot of developers have decent machines, but are we talking gaming rig level, or can this run on a MacBook?
This is where it gets interesting. With quantization techniques, basically compressing the model to use less memory, you can run a 7B parameter model on a machine with 8 gigabytes of RAM. For a 13B model, you're looking at 16 gigabytes minimum, preferably 32 gigabytes. And if you have any recent GPU with at least 8 gigabytes of VRAM, you can get significantly better performance. We're talking response times of maybe 2 to 3 seconds per query on CPU versus near instantaneous on GPU.
So it's accessible, but there are definitely performance considerations. How does that compare to the cloud services?
Here's where the numbers get really interesting. ChatGPT typically responds in under a second for most queries, but that's not the whole story. You've got network latency, potential rate limiting, and during peak times, you might see degraded performance. With a local model, your performance is consistent. It might be slower, but it's predictably slower. And for certain use cases, that predictability is valuable.
What about the actual capabilities? Like, what can a 13B parameter model actually do compared to GPT-4?
This is crucial for understanding why Clawdbot found its niche. A well-tuned 13B model can handle code completion, basic refactoring suggestions, documentation generation, and even some debugging assistance. What it can't do is the really complex reasoning tasks, like architecting an entire system from scratch or solving novel algorithmic problems. But here's the thing, for day-to-day development tasks, that might be enough.
But surely there's more to it than just running a model locally. What made Clawdbot so special enough to go viral?
From what I can gather, it was the execution on the details, things like smart context management, knowing which files you're working on and automatically including relevant context, integration with development environments, the ability to learn from your code base over time. These aren't technically groundbreaking features, but implementing them well in a local-first way, that's harder than it sounds.
And I imagine there's also the privacy angle, if you're working on proprietary code.
Exactly. This is huge for enterprise developers. I've talked to engineers at major tech companies who are explicitly forbidden from using ChatGPT or Claude for anything work-related. The risk of accidentally leaking proprietary algorithms or customer data is too high. But a local assistant, that's a different story entirely.
So let's talk about the rebrand to Moltbot. From a technical perspective, how big of a deal is changing the name of an AI assistant?
It's more complex than you might think. If users have scripts, integrations, or workflows around the original name, you need migration paths. You need to update all your documentation, your package names, your command line interfaces, and psychologically, you're asking users to rebuild their mental model of your product.
Plus, you lose all the SEO and word-of-mouth momentum you've built up.
Precisely. And this brings us to the broader implications. We're in this weird moment where AI is moving faster than the legal frameworks around it. Anthropic has every right to protect their Claude trademark, but at the same time, are we going to see a chilling effect on innovation if every AI-related name gets aggressively protected?
It reminds me of the patent battles in the smartphone era, necessary for protecting innovation, but sometimes stifling it too.
And here's what's really interesting. This isn't just about one developer and one project. There are probably dozens of similar tools being built right now. Local AI assistants for coding, for writing, for research, each one potentially walking through the same legal minefield.
Stick around. We'll break down exactly what developers and teams should be thinking about if they're considering local AI assistants, plus what this trend means for the future of AI development tools.
So let's get practical. If you're a developer or a team lead listening to this, what should you actually do with this information?
Yeah, because I think a lot of people are probably thinking, should I be looking at local AI assistants? Is this something I need to care about?
Here's my framework for thinking about it. First, assess your privacy requirements. Are you working with proprietary code, customer data? If yes, local AI assistants should definitely be on your radar. Second, evaluate your use cases. If you need cutting-edge reasoning capabilities, you're still going to want access to GPT-4 or Claude. But if you need reliable code completion, documentation help, or basic automation, local might be perfect.
What about the practical steps? Say I want to experiment with running my own local AI assistant.
Start small. Grab something like Ollama or LM Studio. These are user-friendly ways to run local models. Try out different models, Llama 2, Mistral, maybe some of the specialized coding models like CodeLlama. See what runs well on your hardware. The beauty is you can experiment without any API costs or usage limits.
And for teams considering this at scale?
That's where it gets more complex. You need to think about standardization. Which models will you support? How will you handle updates? What about knowledge sharing between team members? Some teams I've talked to are setting up shared model servers on premises, so you get the benefits of local execution with centralized management.
What about the legal side? How do developers protect themselves from the kind of situation Clawdbot found itself in?
This is critical. First, be extremely careful with naming. Don't get cute with variations of existing AI products. Second, if you're building something you plan to distribute, invest in a basic trademark search. It's not expensive and can save you massive headaches later. Third, consider joining communities or organizations that can provide legal resources for open-source AI projects.
Looking forward, where do you see this local AI assistant trend going?
I think we're going to see specialization. Instead of trying to compete with general-purpose assistants, local tools will focus on specific domains where privacy and customization matter most. Coding assistants for proprietary code bases, medical AI that can't send patient data to the cloud, financial analysis tools that need to work with sensitive data.
And technically, the models are only getting better and more efficient, right?
Absolutely. We're seeing incredible progress in model quantization and optimization. Models that required high-end GPUs last year can now run on laptops, and new architectures are being designed specifically for edge deployment. I wouldn't be surprised if in 2 years we have GPT 3.5 level capabilities running comfortably on consumer hardware.
So what's your take on the bigger picture? Is this local AI movement a temporary reaction to privacy concerns, or is it here to stay?
I think it's here to stay, but not as a replacement for cloud AI, as a complement. We're moving toward a hybrid future where you use local AI for sensitive or specialized tasks and cloud AI for everything else. It's like how we still have local development environments, even though cloud IDEs exist.
That makes sense. Different tools for different jobs.
Exactly. And that's really the key takeaway here. The story of Clawdbot becoming Moltbot isn't just about one developer's trademark troubles. It's about the maturation of the AI ecosystem. We're moving past the one-size-fits-all phase into something more nuanced, where developers have real choices about how and where their AI runs.
And despite the legal challenges, it sounds like there's still plenty of room for innovation in this space.
more than ever, actually. The democratization of AI is real. A solo developer can build something that genuinely competes with products from billion-dollar companies, at least for specific use cases. Yes, you need to be smart about trademarks and legal issues, but the opportunity is there.
Any final thoughts for developers who might be inspired to build their own AI tools?
Start with a specific problem you personally face. The best tools come from scratching your own itch. Don't try to build the next ChatGPT. Build something that solves one problem really well for a specific audience. And remember, in the AI space right now, perfect is the enemy of good. Ship something useful, iterate based on feedback, and don't be afraid to pivot if necessary, even if that means changing your entire brand.
Even if that pivot is forced by trademark law.
Especially then, because at the end of the day, what matters is the value you're creating for users. Clawdbot had to become Moltbot, but the underlying innovation, giving developers a private, local AI assistant, that's what will endure. And that's what this whole AI revolution is really about, putting powerful tools in the hands of everyone, not just big tech companies. Before we wrap up, let's catch up on this week's infrastructure news. There's a fascinating new development in the AI agent space. Airtable just announced they're launching Superagent, a standalone AI agent product. According to TechCrunch, they're betting big on multi-agent coordination to deliver more interactive and higher quality outputs for users.
That's interesting timing. Airtable's primarily known for their database and workflow tools. What's their angle here? Are they trying to compete directly with the big AI players?
It seems like they're focusing on differentiation through that multi-agent approach. Rather than one AI doing everything, they're orchestrating multiple specialized agents working together.
Speaking of agent development, Anthropic just dropped something huge, the Claude Agent SDK. This is a game changer for developers who want to build autonomous AI systems.
Absolutely. According to their documentation, this SDK lets developers create agents that can actually interact with their environment, reading files, running commands, even editing code autonomously. It comes with built-in tools right out of the box.
That's powerful stuff. We're really seeing the shift from chatbots to actual autonomous agents that can take action.
Now, shifting gears to a more serious development, Wired is reporting on what they're calling a state-led crackdown on Grok and XAI. This centers around AI-generated content, specifically non-consensual sexual images.
This was bound to happen. The legal and ethical challenges around AI-generated content are catching up with the technology. What kind of actions are states taking?
The article highlights various legal actions being initiated at the state level, targeting both the platforms and the underlying AI systems that enable this kind of harmful content generation.
It's a reminder that as these AI systems become more powerful, the regulatory response is intensifying.
On a more positive note, Databricks is reporting a major shift in enterprise AI adoption. According to AI News, companies are moving rapidly toward agentic systems, AI models that can independently plan and execute entire workflows.
That's a big leap from just using AI for analysis or chatbots. What's driving this shift?
They're seeing the rise of what they call the supervisor agent, essentially AI systems that can manage other AI agents. It's like having an AI project manager coordinating multiple specialized AI workers.
That ties back perfectly to what Airtable is doing with Superagent. The whole industry is converging on this multi-agent autonomous approach.
Exactly. We're witnessing a fundamental shift in how enterprises think about AI, from tools that assist to agents that actually do the work.
That wraps up this week's news.
That's our show for today.
If you found this valuable, please subscribe and share with a friend who'd appreciate it.
Drop us a comment with your thoughts on today's topic.
Links to everything we discussed are in the show notes.
Until next time.